There are 5 Great Lakes, as we well know. So pick your favorite, and the next time you have a free day, consider heading on up, or down, or over. When you arrive, be sure to tell the lake exactly what you want from it. Make sure to tell the waters, the weather, the wind, and the sky what kind of experience you expect from them. And see what happens. We can try to extract what we want from the Great Lakes, but as the countless shipwrecks, washed-out roads, and devoured homes frequently remind us, we are not in charge. And it seems that the same thing can be said about the region's paranormal happenings. When we set out to hunt them, more often than not we come back empty-handed. And when we least expect it, we find ourselves waist-deep in a wave of them. Hello, and welcome, my freshwater friends, to episode 33 of the About the Water podcast, an exploration of high strangeness on and around the Great Lakes. Today we head for the western shores of Lake Superior, just north of Two Harbors, Minnesota. Here, we'll explore these aforementioned principles at work, as the unexpected becomes the unexplained, and brilliant lights shine about the water. Episode 33, The Loop Road Lights. The sun was down. The trap was set. Huge waves were clawing at the bottom of the 130-foot cliffs as Split Rock Lighthouse stood watch over Lake Superior. John manned the audio recorder. His cousin Derek kept his eyes on the makeshift EMF meter as he tried to keep it dry from the rain. The group's founder, Arjun, kept an eye on the surroundings, ensuring that there was no one patrolling around the restricted area before cueing the new guy. "Go," he whispered. "Josh, go." At Arjun's command, Josh casually walked a circle around the lighthouse tower, dropping his wallet intentionally and then making his way towards the others, who were using a descending outdoor stairway as a sort of trench wall over which they could observe. The group of 4 waited, and waited, and waited. Arjun glanced at his wristwatch. 40 minutes had gone by. "EVP?" he asked. John shook his head no. "EMF?" Derek shrugged, showing nothing on his meter. "Thermal?" Josh's eyes were fixed on his thermal imaging camera, which showed nothing out of the ordinary. The light in the lighthouse tower was warm. Everything else was Lake Superior cold. "Arjun, this kinda sucks, man," Josh protested. As Arjun observed his team of fearless, albeit admittedly amateur paranormal investigators, he could see an unspoken, wet, and cold accord had been formed. They all felt the same way. "All right," Arjun said. "Let's pack it up before we get in trouble for being here." The group did just that. Josh walked back to the lighthouse to retrieve his wallet. He glanced up at the lantern room, never once seeing the phantom lightkeeper who was rumored to return wallets to their owners when dropped. Josh kindly smiled. "Thanks anyway," he said as he went off to join the others. "Gentlemen," John said as he steered the station wagon towards the main road, "I think we suck at this." The group laughed. The 4 had spent nearly every weekend over the last several months going to every allegedly haunted site along the western shore of Lake Superior, from Ashland, Wisconsin to Thunder Bay, Ontario, with absolutely nothing to show for their efforts, except of course for a bit of lighthearted camaraderie. "Yeah, I think this may spell the end of the Banshee Busters," Derek said from the front passenger seat. The group roared into objection. "Come on, man, that sounds goofy. Now, guys, we settled on what? I think Wraith Wrestlers, right? John said with a grin. It was Wraith Wranglers, Josh replied from the driver's side back seat. Arjun shook his head. Nah, guys, we need to step it up. Something professional sounding, you know? I was thinking the North American Paranormal Occurrence Observation Professionals Associated. The group thought silently for a moment before Josh replied. Napupa? The car erupted in laughter. Derek watched as the pitch-black pine trees went by the passenger side window as the group made their way south, headed back to their home base in Duluth, Minnesota. Huh, Loop Road, he said, tapping on the window at a street sign. Loop Road? John, go back. Pull a U-ey. Go back that way. Taking advantage of the deserted Highway 61, John did exactly that. All right, stop. Stop right here, Derek instructed as John pulled onto the unpaved road, which made its way north into some dense trees. Huh, this has to be it, Derek said as he reached for a road map in the glove box. Upon finding it, he turned on the car's interior light and explained his enthusiasm to the group. My brother, when we were growing up, told me about these lights, the Loop Road lights. They were red lights. They would come out of the trees and they would chase cars down Loop Road. This has to be it, right? It looks like here it connects to Highway 3, about 1.5 miles north of us. Derek ran his finger in a circle on the map. This is it. It connects to 3, then back to 61. It makes a big triangle, and if we drive that triangle, maybe we'll see the lights. What are they? John asked, nervously. I don't know, man. My brother just said nobody knows. That's all I know. Or all I don't know, you know? The group looked at Arjun, who smiled and nodded. All ahead full, he instructed. And with that, the group set off on their first loop. When the group completed the first loop, they then set off on another, and another, and another. And, in true Napupa fashion, absolutely nothing happened. John eventually stopped the car, letting out an audible and concerning, "Oops." Naturally, the group inquired. His low fuel light just went on, Derek said, straining his neck to see the gauges. An anxiety-riddled argument then ensued as to whether or not the only fuel station in the only nearby town of Two Harbors would be open at 11 o'clock at night. Derek, half-lovingly, slapped John on the back of the head. Dude, if it's not open, we'll never make it to Duluth, man. We're going to end up here. A sudden, intense white light filled the interior of the car, temporarily blinding all four inside. Terrified, the group scrambled to see where the light was coming from, and almost immediately, they saw additional lights. Red lights. They swept through the car in waves, almost as if scanning for life. And after a few hour-long seconds, a piercing noise cut through the night air. We got pulled over? Josh asked. Crap, yeah, John replied. John had never been pulled over before and didn't know protocol, so without thinking, he got out of the car.
Get back in your vehicle.
John did as instructed, receiving another smack in the back of the head from Derek for his efforts. You never get out of the car, Derek whispered. What on earth you thinking, man? Arjun interrupted them. Quiet, everyone quiet. John, what did you see? John was grabbing for his ID, visibly nervous as he replied. It's a cop, man. In a cop car. It's a cop in a cop car. Arjun put his hand on John's shoulder. It's okay, man. You weren't doing anything wrong. You were driving just fine. Derek sat upright and asked, Where's the blue? Huh? The group replied in near-perfect unison. The blue. Minnesota cops have red and blue lights. I see the searchlight and the red lights, but where's the blue? As if responding to his inquiry, the police car suddenly went entirely dark. No one stepped out of it, and not a sound could be heard. The four waited. For the next 20 minutes or so, not knowing what to do, they just waited and waited. Nothing. Not a light, not a sound, nothing. "John, is he still there?" our John asked, fearful to look over his own shoulder. John squinted into the rear view. It's so dark," he said. "I think he's still there, but... John trailed off as he switched his focus to the side mirror. "What in the world?" he asked, opening the car door. The others protested in whispers as John climbed out and began to walk towards the police car.
"Guys,"
he said,
"I think you need to see this."
With an exchange of confused glances and shrugs, the others followed, each one stepping out of the car, only to stop dead in their tracks as soon as they saw the police vehicle. The Minnesota Highway Patrol car rested completely derelict on the side of the road. It was a 1970s-style Plymouth sedan, boxy with a light bar on top. The windows had all been broken out. There wasn't a single body panel that wasn't dented out of shape. The interior was torn up, rained on, and based on smell, likely lived in by some local wildlife. Josh spoke nervously while shaking his head. "Guys, this was not here before." All 4 tires were missing, as was most of the dark red paint, either faded by time or covered with light-hearted vulgarities in the form of spray paint. The dual red police lights on top had been smashed, rendering them completely inoperative, and the same could be said for the exterior loudspeaker which was mounted between them. The driver's side window spotlight appeared to have been crudely ripped off, no doubt a souvenir in a nearby garage. "Okay, this thing was just... you all saw it, right? You heard it, I'm not crazy," Arjun stammered, running his hand along the hood. "No," Derek answered. No, you're not." He rushed back to the station wagon and retrieved the thermal camera. The engine, the lights, anyone touching it, it'll have a residual heat signature," he explained, as the others crowded around the camera which was powering on. The moment it did, the 4 fell silent. In a fading streak of purple, they could see the line down which Arjun had just rubbed his hand along the hood. Aside from that, the car was cold. There weren't any signs that there had been any recent activity around the car. "Okay, I'm getting a little freaked out here. I think we should go," Josh suggested. The rapid pace at which the others returned to the station wagon was a clear indication of unanimous agreement. As soon as John saw that everyone was in, he reached down to turn the ignition on. The brilliant white light and red flashing lights again poured into the car, and with a deafening roar, the siren sounded. As the police car then peeled out, past the group, and sped off into the trees, heading north along Loop Road before disappearing entirely. Without a single word being exchanged, and without a moment's hesitation, John steered the station wagon back to the highway. Fast. The stunned group remained completely silent as they made their way home to Duluth, down Highway 61. Aside from the running lights of an occasional Canada-bound semi-truck, they encountered nothing unexpected or unexplainable. Just thick trees, the vast expanse of Lake Superior, and the eerie beauty of the moonless Minnesota darkness. Well, I am proud to announce that you and I have been made the honorary 5th and 6th members of Napupa. And we have our friends John, Josh, Derek, and Arjun to thank for that. Sincerely much appreciated, guys. We're definitely excited to hear what you come across in the future. Hopefully that'll be a future episode. I bet no more than 3 seconds passed after the group recounted their experience before I begged Derek to get his older brother on the phone. Since after all, it was Derek's brother that provided the lead on the Loop Road lights in the first place. And Derek did. And indeed, his brother remembered telling Derek that when they were kids, these red lights would come out of the woods and chase people down Loop Road. And that is when things got weird. We were all surprised when, over the speakerphone, Derek's brother announced that all those years ago, he had made the legend up entirely. He explained that he and his brother were just telling some ghost stories, and he remembered Loop Road as a kid as a shortcut his dad would use. Outside of that, the whole thing was just fabricated in the moment. It was at that point that we all noticed a reading of about 5,000 on the WTF meter. The rest of the afternoon was passed with the five of us reaching out to every local business and civic contact that we could find in the Two Harbors area, hoping that someone would at least have known of a legend or a past encounter or something. But nobody had heard anything remotely like what the guys experienced. Most people weren't familiar with Loop Road, and those who were simply described it as a little-known shortcut and a very effective unpaved way of getting a person's car dirty. The group did make a habit of returning down Loop Road every time they passed that way, and they advised that there most certainly is no defunct police car anywhere on that 1.3-mile stretch of road. So, what happened that evening? Well, let's go around the table. Our driver, John, claims that he researched every local paranormal story, from ghost ships to Mishapeshu, and never once has a phantom police car come up. He believes that perhaps the car was real, just some kind of a prank, like a prop, used maybe to scare passers-by. Although, he does admit that he can't explain the lack of heat signature on the thermal camera, and of course he can't explain the vehicle being in such an obvious state of disrepair. Riding shotgun, Derek subscribes to the familiar theory that our reality slipped into or merged with another one briefly. He said he listens to this show regularly and referenced a number of various encounters we have discussed previously, citing multiverse theory. We just got a taste of a different reality for a minute. From the back seat, Josh believes it's just a classic ghost tale. The police vehicle was a residual apparition just playing itself over and over again, like a hologram. Indeed, he hypothesizes that Loop Road might be a literal loop road. A bit of research did indicate that Loop Road predates the 1970s, which was the decade from which the police car seems to belong, so that could be a possibility. Finally, let's close things out with the thoughts of the group's founder, Arjun. He has a fascinating take, as he thinks that four eager, dynamic, and racing minds set out that evening to find a ghost, and in the process, actually created one. That their combined energies physically manifested something strange. This theory is not without precedent, and possibly not without evidence. The idea of creating a ghost was famously experimented with in Toronto during the 1970s. Parapsychological researchers seemingly successfully created an entirely fictional ghost named Philip Aylesford. They collectively fabricated a backstory for this entirely fictional entity, and then, during a seance, were able to communicate with it. So maybe, just maybe, Arjun is correct. Maybe they were the cause of the phenomenon. You and I, maybe our actions, our words, and the weird-ass podcasts that we listen to are the cause of the paranormal. Maybe our exploration of high strangeness on and around the Great Lakes is really just an introspective observation of ourselves. And with that, thank you sincerely for listening. May your rearview mirror be free of both berries and cherries, and may the tales of your journeys around these waters be as grand, beautiful, and enduring as our Great Lakes. I'll see you about the water.